Welcome to About Play, where we explore how children play and what it can do for their development. In this episode, we take a look at block play. Blocks play isn't just stacking and building. It's construction, maths, engineering, balance, dramatic play, motor skills, storytelling, and so much more. Along with our knowledgeable teachers, let's take a look at block play. Bella is 14 months old and is quite familiar with the blocks that she's using. But what's happening at this early stage?
Here, when we're looking at Isabella, we can see that she's using these mega blocks. And I think something that's really nice to acknowledge is that these blocks are sort of autocorrect. There is one way to build with them.
And you get that feeling of success as well when they close together. And when you pull them apart, that sensory feeling as well.
Here we have Quinn playing with similar blocks. He's a little older and seemingly more familiar with these blocks. His play changes as the intention becomes more obvious.
So what I love here is how Quinn picks up different blocks and he can judge by the look of it, has the spatial awareness to go, I've got a 4 block, it's going to fit on top of this 4 piece, and it successfully goes on. Then he puts the next one on as well, which is another 4 piece. And then the next piece to be successful on top of this one needs to be a 2 piece. So he searches through the pieces and he gets it. So he's able to have that mathematical knowledge to understand what he's got to do.
And I guess this is all the foundation for successful puzzling skills as well.
Let's take a look at what's happening when Quinn starts playing with a different style of block.
This is not in the traditional sense of what we would immediately see as block building. This is another form of building, and what's interesting is that these logs don't have a definite formula to it. We want children to encounter problems so that they keep thinking of new theories and new ways of solving and keep questioning and thinking of new ideas.
And they get practice at trying. So you have to fail a million times to then be successful at it. But all of that builds up your knowledge so that you can then grow and get better at it and transfer that to another area.
And I think at this age, you see him at the beginning, that joy of pushing the tower over.
Yeah.
That failure necessarily isn't a negative thing. It's part of the fun of learning how to build with blocks.
Exactly.
Ben here is a little older, and we start to see an even more complex understanding of how these blocks work.
So I think what's quite nice here when we're watching Ben build in this little snippet is that progression of building. When he sees the tower growing, is able to identify that it's about to fall and he stops it and catches it. And I think that's that knowledge.
It's like the knack or like the classic catch of something, like predicting where it's going to go and when it's going to fall and when you need to support it so that you can make it structurally sound.
Using building blocks with a group is also vital for a child's development. But in what ways?
Her face is just...
Yeah.
And then she gets the blocks and she instantly wants to do it. Look at her, she's frantic. She's like, yep, I want to be part of this too.
So this is a classic example of community of builders where one motivates another to then experiment and try for themselves so that they can do it and play and experiment and learn. Yeah.
It's that onlooker. You know, children learn from peer observation. It's really important in play.
Now we see William using books to build, building a structure beyond what it's obviously used for. Not only that, he's introducing his own dinosaur story.
William here has got a very different way of thinking about books. Like really thoughtful process has gone into making this a successful structure, which I love how creative it is.
And then there's that youngness of him when he uses his dinosaur to knock the building over. It's that cause and effect.
And creating the story from it, right? So the dinosaurs are the destructors, right? They're coming along to knock it down. So it's not like with Quinn, how he pushed it down himself. This is a dinosaur doing it, so it makes a story.
Michelle here is using blocks to create her own little street and story.
We love Michelle's use of narrative and her combination in thinking about the narrative while she's building. And it's about how children make connections with what they are experiencing, because they're always wanting to make connections and trying to understand what is happening in their lives. And so it is through play that children continue to understand their world and what happens.
I think something really important to acknowledge too is that At home and in an early childhood setting, it's always nice for an adult to build with children as well.
Absolutely.
And to encourage their attempts and their unsuccessful attempts and to support them in trying.
Yeah, and to celebrate it when they're so excited, when they do their wow face like we saw with Bella at the start,
That's
it's just
right.
so beautiful.
What other learning did you see happen in this video? We hope today has given you some strong foundations and ideas into exploring block play in your own environment. Good luck and enjoy.